Welcome back to the Crafty Homesteader, where happiness is homemade. Today on the Crafty Homesteader, we're going to make two kinds of soup: chicken stew and south of the border chicken soup. Listed here are the ingredients for the south of the border chicken soup. Listed here are the ingredients for chicken stew. I like to slice up all my vegetables beforehand. I cooked a whole chicken in a crock pot, and here you can see me deboning and taking the meat off the bone and shredding the chicken. The next step in the process is to put the chicken into the quart jars. You only want to fill it up about 1/4 of a way up. Alright guys, so I have filled the recipe. This first recipe that I'm doing is the chicken stew. It has a mix of the already cooked chicken, corn, carrots, celery, tomatoes, potatoes, and beans, and several different seasonings. You can see I have the jar about halfway full. When you're doing the soups, you want to do your jars about halfway full of your solids, and then you're going to fill the rest with broth. As you saw in the first part of the video, I filled about 14 jars. I can do 2 canners at a time with 14 quarts. So I'm doing my first recipe with the chicken stew, and then I'll come back with the next set of jars and do the second recipe. This is the second recipe that I'll be doing today, which is just a basic chicken noodle soup without the noodles. So what I'm going to do is I already have the chicken in here. I'm going to add celery, carrots, some seasonings, and then fill the rest of the jar with broth. And that way when I want some chicken noodle soup or a good nice broth, we can just heat this up. I can cook some noodles, throw this in there, and it makes a super easy meal. Alright guys, I have all of my jars filled. I filled them halfway with the vegetable mix and chicken. Then I filled up the rest of the jars with the chicken broth. I had made my own homemade chicken broth from the bones left over from cooking the chicken. Since this is a soup, I am going to debubble. That's not normally a step that I normally do because most of the stuff that I've shown you guys so far has been like raw packed meats. So this is a debubbling tool. You can use a chopstick. You can use I wouldn't recommend using anything metal. You don't want to clink the metal out of your jars. What you're going to do to debubble, you're just going to stick this down in here, stir it around a little bit. You're trying to get any air bubbles that may be down in your jars to come up to the top. You don't want the air pockets. So it's going to change your headspace. Our headspace on these are 1 inch. So after you debubble everything, you're going to want to go back and check your headspace to make sure that you still have that 1 inch headspace, because your headspace is very important. Especially since we packed our jars and then put the broth, you want to make sure that you give it a good stir. You just go down the sides of your jar, and then I like to go in the middle too. As you can tell, some of the jars are darker than the others. I wound up running out of the chicken broth that I had made, so I just filled the rest of them with some beef broth. So I did vary from the recipe just a little bit. Now what I'm going to do, especially since we had meat and we had that fatty broth, I'm going to wipe my rims with vinegar and a paper towel, and then we're going to put our lids on. We are going to pressure can this soup for 90 minutes because it does have meat. So 90 minutes for my altitude would be for 10 pounds of pressure. So for 90 minutes, 10 pounds of pressure. Here we have our finished product. I have 14 quart jars of soup, meals ready to go for my family that are shelf stable, homemade, and I know what's in them. Thanks for watching this episode of The Crafty Homesteader. I'll catch you next time. Stay safe. You guys let me know down in the comments what you would like for me to show you to can next, or if you have some different questions or ideas that you would like for me to make a video on.